Hey there you guys, welcome back. Today we are going to be planting some turmeric. Turmeric is a plant that is a member of the ginger family, and they're really cool. I'll try to find a photo and I'll put one up there of the flowers and the leaves. They're kind of pretty, and they grow like ginger. Let me do this camera down here. They grow like ginger, exactly the same. They're little corms or sorry, rhizomes is what these are a little bit smaller than a ginger, but they grow exactly the same. So we're going to plant them the same as ginger. So if you've never planted ginger before, but you planted an iris before, a bearded iris, it's going to be very similar. So anyway, I bought these from a local grocery store called La Coco's here in the Hamilton Stony Creek area, and I wanted them since before I moved. These are actually growing really well. This is not how you would be buying them. Well, you'd be buying them as the rhizome, but you would not be buying them with the sprouts on them. I bought these the second we moved into this house, and they've just been sitting around because I wanted a garden to plant stuff in, but the garden still isn't ready. So they've been waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting. So I said, you know what, these things need to get planted. So I came downstairs today and I looked at them, and they, for the most part, they're looking really good. There are a couple that have, let me just show you here. There's a couple that have shriveled up and they don't look so good. So these ones are going to go to the garbage, but the rest of them all look beautiful. So what we're going to do is I've got this pot. It's I don't know, a 12-inch pot. We're going to, well, I like to put paper towel on the bottom. It's not necessary. I like to cover up the holes so that the soil doesn't fall out, especially in the beginning. As the soil does its thing and compresses itself, you don't really have to worry about that. But in the beginning, soil likes to come out the bottom of the holes. So I've got my all-purpose soil over here. It's just the same as I use for pretty well everything else. It's a peat-based soil, this one, with added perlite. And I'm just going to fill this up. When you're planting these particular rhizomes, you don't want to bury them deep. So you're going to basically just put them on the soil surface, and then you're going to cover them over just with a little bit of soil, not very much. So I'm just going to fill this pot up pretty well till about 2 inches from the top. Let's just go ahead and get this done. There we go. Beautiful. I'm going to just lightly pack it down, allow a little bit of soil, more soil. I'm using pre-moistened soil. I should have probably dampened this a little bit more before starting, but that's just what I like to do for these sorts of things. That way you don't have to water it in really heavily afterwards. I'm just going to take these rhizomes. When you're planting them, if they don't have sprouts, any way is up. Well, as long as they're on their side like this. The sprouts will find their way up. But if you have one like this one here, that the sprout is already facing in the up direction, or what you know is up, then keep it that direction. I've got all kinds of them here. Excuse me. I'm just going to place them on the soil surface. There's a cute one there. It's got a nice little sprout. There's sprouts all along the sides. It's going to do really well. These plants are going to want bright light, but I would say shelter from the hot parts of the day outside. But if you're growing them inside, as much sun as you can give them, as much as you could give them. You're going to want to keep them on the moist side, but not wet. I would keep them on the dry side until they really start to grow. Because right now they're still on the dormant side, and if you keep them too wet, they will probably rot. But once they start actively growing, you can water them normally. Wow, this dish of turmeric rhizomes, they were really cheap. As I tried to figure out my words, they were very inexpensive. I think I paid $3 for the whole container. Turmeric is really good for a food additive. I'm not a nutritionalist, and I don't don't really know what they do, but it's one of those I want to say superfoods that should be added to everything. It doesn't have a flavor, but it's really healthy for you. Usually you could get it in a powder, so you could just grate it or slice it into your food as you're cooking it. And Bob's your uncle. Maybe he is. I don't know. So anyway, now we've got them all placed into the pot, and now we are going to just sprinkle a little bit of soil over the top. Just ever so slight. Just a light coating. Oh, as I throw soil all over the place. And I will water this in very lightly. Again, I don't want to water until I start to see active leaf growth. The sprouts don't say active leaf growth. They're telling me that the plants are trying to get started, but they do want a little bit of moisture to get themselves going. They're going to start developing their root system, so you just want to keep it on the damp side. And again, when they get going, you want to keep the soil moist, but not soaking wet. And yeah, just go from there. Again, a bright light, but sheltered from midday hot sun would probably be best. I've not grown ginger before, but most plants like to be sheltered from that hot midday sun. If you're in a cooler climate, then probably midday sun isn't going to be too bad. But if you're in a really hot area, just be careful, err on the side of caution, and maybe in your area they will tolerate full sun all the time. But if you notice a little bit of leaf burn or yellowing, make sure to bring it back, so into a more sheltered location. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope that these sprout really well. I don't see why they wouldn't, because they've already started sprouting. So anyway, I will keep you posted on this, probably with Instagram posts. And anyway, until next time, show me what you're growing. Maybe you're growing some turmeric or anything else ginger. Oh, I love gingers. If you haven't joined the Plants and Things What's Growing page, that page is growing amazingly. We're over 20,000 members now. So if you have gingers, I'd love to see photos of your ginger flowers. There's so many different types of gingers. So show me, teach me about ginger. There's so many different varieties that I have not heard of, and I want to start growing more gingers. They're so pretty. Anyway, until next time, happy growing, everyone.